Welcome back, race fans, to the final round of the first season of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship. It's round 10 from arguably the most classic and legendary circuit in the whole of the UK. It's Silverstone. My name is Justin, and joining me once again for this season finale is Crekkan.
Yep, hello, great to be back, and hoping for another great race to round up the season.
Yep, last week it was championship leader Kerry Nolden who took pole position and the race win at Brands Hatch, while Michael Mittner and Gino Vandenbroek got their first podiums of the season. In the championship, Kerry extended his lead to 20 points over Patrick White, while Team AOR took the team championship title after all three drivers finished in the top 10 at Brands Hatch. That's what happened last time out. Now let's see how they line up on the grid this week, starting with the side-by-side qualifying report.
Here we are on the pre-2010 Silverstone layout, on board with British drivers Colin Cunniff and Jordan Howson for the final qualifying comparison of the first season of this league. Both of these drivers attending their final race today, as they are both taking a break from the Star Mazda car for the next season, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare around Silverstone here today. It certainly looked like both drivers nailed the line through the first corner of this lap, as they are now coming into the fantastic Maggots-Beckett section pretty much flat out through the first part, before slowing it down with one downshift for the left-hander and then another downshift to go through Beckett, trying to get as early as possible on the throttle through Chapel for the crucial run onto this massive hanger straight. And it looks like Colin Cunniff is ever so slightly ahead as they enter the straight, but Howson does have the advantage of a slipstream from the car ahead at the moment, and the slipstream effect is quite strong in this car, so that can gain you quite some time, but it does look like Cunniff still has a slight advantage going through Stowe. And onto this short straight running down to Vale corner, which is basically a chicane and the slowest corner on the lap so far, breaking down to second or third gear depending on the driver and the setup, before flicking it right for this long right hand bend, coming onto what would be the pit straight of course on the new layout of this track, where the new turn 1 would have been a fast right hander a little bit further down here, but instead we're going to carry on straight and then into the left hand chicane of Abbey, down to third gear, running hard on the inside curb, Cunniff getting a little bit loose there it looked like, but he managed to hold it together and keep the momentum coming down into the right-hander of Bridge, keeping it tight now on the right-hand side of the track to get the best possible line through Priory, where they're having to do a slight lift. And then there's the hard braking zone into Brooklands, which is a long left-hander that can be taken in third gear, again not using all of the width of the track as they are lining themselves up for Luffield here, running wide on the exit to get on the power as early as possible, using every bit of curbing and AstroTurf on the left-hand side, before charging down towards the start-finish line to end their laps. And it is Colin Cunniff who wins the battle of this qualifying comparison and takes second place on the grid with a lap time of 1:40.517, whereas Jordan Howson was 0.6 of a second behind him and will have to start the race in 8th place. Now back to the main commentators for the full qualifying classifications.
So it is Kerry Nolden who takes pole position for the final time this season, ahead of Colin Cunniff by just over 1/10 of a second. Marcus Jensen starts best of the rest in third alongside Phil Reed. Andreas Merck took 5th with Robert Plumley an impressive 6th on the third row. Gregor Reineck Jr. starts in 7th and was the only Carbon Racing driver to participate in qualifying. Jordan Howson starts 8th, while Harley Lewis and Timu Valkjärvi round out the top 10. In his second race of the season, and after an unlucky start in Brands Hatch, Gonzalo Camara starts in 11th alongside Gino Vandenbroek, hot off his podium finish last week. Martinson starts way down in 13th and will likely try to lift himself out of the midfield alongside Peter Newman. On row 8, Leanne Robinson starts 15th ahead of the final ACR driver of Alexander Trowbridge. On row 9 comes Christoph Leister and the final AOR driver of Neil Lukens, while Nigel Spears and Vittorio Saltalamacchia round out the top 20. Row 11 is Alexander Van Rompuy and Evan Imre, and bringing up the rear without a qualifying time set is Joshua Anderson, Frederick Johansson, and Steve Kagerer. That's how the grid looks. Now it's time for the final race of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship's first season. It's race time from Silverstone. Kerry Nolden is starting from pole position, and with Patrick White missing from the grid, Kerry is now officially the Season 1 champion. 32 laps of this high-speed circuit await the drivers, and Colin Cunniff will have the best shot at Kerry's position, as we see him there on the grid now, actually. And he's starting from second place on the grid from the front row, and it's not a super long run down to the first corner, but it's a very high-speed corner, so I imagine overtaking is going to be difficult and dangerous as well. So I'm wondering how much we're going to see. Obviously, Brands Hatch still very much in the minds of all of the drivers. Everybody remembers what happens there, so hopefully everyone will be very cautious as we've got the lights on now, and they're green, and the cars are away, and Colin Cuniff actually with a much better start than Kerry Nolden there, and it looks like he's going to take that first place position heading into turn 1, and he sure does. Just breezes by him.
That's Pierre Newman into the wall there. That's a massive crash. I don't know what's happened. It looks like he must have got caught up with someone, but that's Phil Reed who's also gone off, but yeah, Colin Cuniff is taking the lead there, Justin.
Yeah, and he's actually got a little bit of a gap already forming.
Oh,
oh no! Oh no! And is that Kerry? That's Kerry. Kerry is off the circuit, going through Beckett's, and now he's rejoining the circuit nice and safely though, not getting in anybody's way there. That's Jordan Howson and one of the Carbon Racing cars. I'm not sure who that is, but it looks like Robert Plumley as well getting into the mix, who started from 6th position on the grid. Very nice qualifying for him, and it looks like Robert Plumley is going to have to slot in. Kerry is going to hold on to the position, and that's Gregor Reineck, and Kerry all over the back of him. Reineck's going to defend the inside line, and is Kerry going to be able to take him? Because there's a right-hander coming up next, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able. He's done it. Kerry back up into 3rd place, I do believe, but with a pretty large gap up ahead to Colin Cuniff and Marcus Jensen, who started from 3rd on the grid. Nice start for both of those guys as they each gain a position due to Kerry's mistake. And yeah, that's again, that's Howson. Phil Reed is still in the back there, actually. So if that was in fact him that was involved in that incident, it doesn't seem that he has too significant damage, as he is able to continue as it stands right now. Oh no, and that is Robert Plumley, who we were just talking about having such a good start, and he has spun off the circuit, coming out of Priory, and he's in the grass, and that is going to drop him way down the order, as Harley Lewis having a look around the outside of Lovefield for Phil Reed here, and it looks like Phil Reed's gotten the better exit, and I imagine Harley Lewis is actually now going to come under attack from Gino Vandenbroek with the slipstream, but no, that's not the case. It looks like, or is he? Vandenbroek?
Well, he's definitely looking. I mean, he's just hounding Lewis. I mean, these three drivers have been like hounding each other all through the race, through the start of the race, and now Liam Robinson, he's looking to try and overtake on the inside, but Vandenbroek, he's going to just hold on. Nigel Spears and Steve Kager battling in the background. But Vandenbroek chasing after Lewis. Lewis chasing after Phil Reed and Jordan Howson. But this is a pretty close start of race. All the cars are bunched up together, and with slipstreaming opportunities and just the fast nature of the track, you can see that's Liam Robinson again trying to take Vandenbroek, and I think that was Phil Reed overtaking Jordan Howson in the foreground there. And Vandenbroek is holding off Liam Robinson. But he's trying to keep up to Harley Lewis at the same time, as Robinson, he's looking very dicey, just getting a bit of grass on his wheels there. But a very interesting start of the race. I think we've lost about 2 drivers. We've definitely lost Peter Newman. I think, oh, that's Jordan Howson. Something's happened to him. I think he's slowing down, so he must have got a corner cut penalty heading into that little kink. As you saw, the curbing very bumpy, as Steve Kager looking to overtake Nigel Spears in the background, and he has. But very interesting start to the race, as we're focusing on Jordan Howson, who is now recovering. That's Alexander Trowbridge behind him, as we take a look at the leaders, Colin Cuniff and Marcus Jensen, who are trying to get away from each other. But if they battle, they're definitely going to lose time as Kerry Nolden tries to recover. And just looking back now, as Jordan Howson attempting to overtake Nigel Spears as we head into the 3rd lap of the race.
Yep, and thankfully the 2 yellow cars racing each other right next to each other for this race, so that makes things a little bit easier. They're always a little difficult to tell apart, the Benson and Hedges and the Camel liveries. But Nigel Spears is the lead car as it stands right now. He's going to defend the inside line heading into Maggots.
I think there's someone in the barrier over there. Yeah, there's someone in the barrier over there. Hopefully we get a replay. I can't really tell. It looks like a grey-looking car as Marcus Jensen now. He's looking to overtake Colin Cuniff. Can he make it stick? No. Oh, this is really close as we exit the corner. You have to be very careful on the exit. Colin Cuniff just manages to hold off as Kerry Nolden actually gets past Andreas Merck in the background as well. So Kerry making a massive recovery after that off of the start, as Colin Cuniff retains the lead. As we look on, as we actually know, we're going to get a replay now of the start, Justin.
Yep, and nice blimp cam here, and we can see that fantastic start from Colin Cunniff, much better than Kerry Nolden. Marcus Jensen really not so much. He didn't. It wasn't too much better. And there we see Peter Newman flipping and barrel rolling. Oh, and there's another car actually at the exit of Cops that was barrel rolling as well. I'm not sure who that was, but it looks like we're going to get a replay of that right now. This is Peter Newman and Leon Robinson. Oh, and they just touch ever so slightly, sends him into the wall, and then I wonder if we're going to get a shot of and to see who was flipping off the circuit at the exit of Cops there. Once again, this is on board with Robert Plumley. It's just such a tiny tap, but of course with the cold tires and the high speeds heading into the first corner, there was really nothing to do. He was just a passenger pretty much exactly after the incident. And here we can see exactly what happened, and that was Teemu Valkijärvi that ended up just flipping his car. And here's an onboard shot, so we'll find out exactly what happened. He was on the outside line for the first corner, and yeah, he just gets a little bit of oversteer, and then whoop, over he goes, and he's on the roll bar there, and he's stuck as well. So Teemu Valkijärvi, very unfortunate start to his race there. And this is the replay of what happened to Kerry Nolden as well. Looks like the cold tires caught him out as well. So Valkijärvi not the only person getting caught off guard by these cold tires here on lap 1, as Kerry Nolden does manage to at least keep all 4 wheels somewhat close to the ground, unlike Valkijärvi, and manages to continue on to his race. Of course, up into 3rd place now already is Kerry Nolden. So despite that, the fact that he's already won this championship, he is not giving up whatsoever. Marcus Jensen as well, not giving up clearly, as he is all over the back of Cunniff. That was a fantastic overtaking maneuver that we saw from Jensen the lap before going through Stowe, but excellent defending from Colin Cunniff. I was curious as to why he wasn't defending the inside line, and then he answered my question before I could even ask it, because he was able to carry more speed through Stowe, and that gave him the inside line for Vale, and he was able to hold on to that position. But Marcus Jensen really hanging on to the back of him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes you can just, if you've got the confidence, you can just maintain your line, even give your opponent some room, and just take the line which you know is going to give you the best exit. I think that's the key thing with these Star Mazda cars. Just get them a good exit and just get the power down. I think it was interesting to note, but during that replay, you did see that Kerry Nolden's front wing seemingly getting some damage. So it looks like Kerry Nolden is actually racing with a damaged wing as well, and is still actually catching up with the leading drivers, as we're on board with Leon Robinson. Just ahead of us is the battle between Holly Lewis and Gino van den Broek. These are drivers looking to extend their position in the top 10 as Gino van den Broek. He's looking for an outside overtake. I think he might have got that, but we don't know. We caught up to Christoph Leister, as there's another outside overtake with Nigel Spears overtaking Trowbridge. A lot of outside overtakes happening here, and it may be the last race, but they're definitely going at it. And yeah, Van den Broek has definitely got by. He's actually caught up a lot. He's dragged away a lot, as Holly Lewis, he's now in the middle of a sandwiches. Steve Kagra, the outside. Oh, Kagra's lost it slightly. That's not good for him. Hopefully he didn't lose it too much. And as we're looking now further down, that's Kagra. He's recovering. He managed to avoid the wall, or at least didn't hit it too hard. As we're looking at this battle now between Trowbridge, Spears, Leister, and I'm not sure who else that was. I can't really remember. But yeah, very interesting battles going on here.
Yeah, very nice driving from Nigel Spears, actually. He seems to be driving like a different person. Maybe he just really seems at home at Silverstone here, possibly. He might be very familiar with the circuit. And here comes Harley Lewis up the inside of bridge on Leon Robinson, and they're going to go side by side once again through Priory as well. But no, Leon Robinson's going to have the inside line now, and he is going to take that, or hold on to that position. Oh no! And here comes Harley Lewis right back at him. He's now got the inside line for Luffield, and it looks like Jordan Howson is going to try and follow him through as well. So it looks like Leon Robinson, no, he does not. He does not. He is going to hang on to at least one of those positions. And having a look once again at Nigel Spears, as he was defending from Christoph Leister, and also Robert Plumley still behind him as well. And just ahead of him is the ACR car. The ACR cars doing quite well in this race so far. Obviously, they're in that battle with Peter Newman Media, and Peter Newman himself out of the race before even getting to turn 1. So it's got you gotta say, it's looking, of course, Teemu Valkyari out of the race after going through turn 1 or during turn 1. So each team lost the driver on the opening lap, or at the very least lost. Yeah, it looks like Teemu as well is out of the race. I'm not, yeah, because he would have gotten a tow by now for sure, and he would have been back out. And he's currently classified as last. So it does appear that Teemu Valkyari, much like Peter Newman, his race is over. And here's that battle for the lead. Colin Cunniff pulling out a little bit of a gap on Marcus Jensen, but once again, as you mentioned before, Kerry Nolden just behind this pair and closing in on them as well. And the more they start battling each other, the more good news it's going to be for the new champion, Kerry Nolden.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, sorry, we just need to make a correction, but it wasn't Steve Kager. Steve Kager is all the way down in 19th. It was Joshua Anderson, the Australian, who lost it and nearly bent into the wall and just managed to save it. So sorry about that. But yes, Colin Cunniff in the lead, followed by Marcus Jensen as Kerry Nolden. He is catching up at a rate of knots. As that's Anderson again, he's just dipping his wheel into the grass. Into the gravel, as I say, and yeah, Marcus Jensen, he's keeping up. Just getting a bit of AstroTurf there, but this is definitely looking like a close battle. And once Kerry joins in, it should be a very interesting fight for the lead. We've still got quite a number of laps to go. 32 laps of this Grand Prix. Average lap times of around 1 minute 40s, if I remember correctly, from the qualifying report. But a very nice angle, just showing these cars how quickly they're going. Considering they are, in a sense, Formula 3 cars, if you want to think of it like that, but the amount of grip that they have, just ploughing through the corners, it's really a sight to see.
Yeah, this is really the type of circuit that suits these Star Mazdas. It's fantastic to see them really stretching their legs and really going for it. Lots of overtaking locations, obviously, as we've seen. And in fact, Marcus Jensen might be proving one of the overtaking locations here. No, it looked like he was closing in on Colin a little bit there, but I'm not sure if he actually let off, because it looked like he was really closing in on him. And then as they were approaching Abbey, the gap seemed to sort of stabilize. I don't know. He could be running higher downforce possibly. This is that type of circuit where you could run a variety of different downforce levels and be successful. But yeah, that's not the first time we've seen Marcus Jensen running a little bit wide at the exit of a corner. So obviously Marcus pushing very hard here.
It's definitely closing up there. I mean, you can see just how much he's closed up actually. Yeah, I mean, the draft you can get on this track is pretty useful, because if you actually run higher wings on this track, I mean, you're going to get a nice advantage going through the corners, especially Maggots and Beckett's. I mean, the amount of downforce you need to go that quickly. I mean, I think they're going full throttle through Maggots, using a lot of the curbing. You can see just how much curbing they're using as we just get a quick shot of the leaders. As that's Harley Lewis, he's looking to overtake Jordan Howson. These drivers are behind Gina Van den Broek, who's managed to pull away quite a bit. So you can just see there in the foreground just how much he's pulled away. There he is, all the way ahead of him. Yeah, I mean, Gina Van den Broek has definitely stepped up his game in the last few races, of course finishing third in Brands Hatch, and now another top 10 contending race here, as these three leaders very close to each other now, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of lines you can take through this track, a lot of places you can overtake. Marcus Jensen getting a very poor drive. Looks like Kerry Nolden is going to try and overtake him as we're focusing on Colin Cunniff. There he is, Nolden try and overtake us. We head into the next corner. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. He overtakes Marcus Jensen into second place, and the hunt for Colin Cunniff begins.
Yep, and there's quite a sizable gap now, though, so Cunniff has the benefit of Nolden being a little bit farther back in his slipstream as we're coming to the end of lap 8 now. Marcus Jensen, though, of course, no slouch. We've seen him push very hard at numerous races this season, proving that he is a very tough competitor, and he's certainly not going to be backing down from the challenge of Kerry Nolden overtaking him. All three of those guys in podium positions, but of course Marcus Jensen would love to get his first race win with the AOR Pro Mazda Championship, so certainly he is not going to be backing down at all. And here is Harley Lewis. You know, I've noticed this now several laps in a row. Harley has quite a different line going through Luffield, or rather the corner before Luffield and then into Luffield.
This
and
is
here's a replay.
Yeah, I think this is a replay from lap 3, and that's Gonzalo Carrera who lost it. That was the driver we saw in the wall massive crash. I think he's out of the race for sure. I mean, you're going to be crabbing, of course. And again, this is on the same lap 3. I think that's Martinson with a bit of lag, losing it there. That's very close to Johansson and Kegra. And this is Lukens, who also lost it. The other two Team AOR drivers not having a good time, not having a good start to the race. And again, Kegra and Johansson having to avoid. Kegra taking advantage of that. And this is another replay, and Lukens completely losing it. So that's his race completely out of it. I think all the teams, all the 4 teams that are remaining in this championship, they've all lost a drive in this race. Of course, Team AOR have lost Lukens, Carbon Racing have lost White because he can't turn up to this race due to family obligations. Of course, Peter Newman Media losing Peter Newman, and Avid Chronic Racing, losing Valkyarvi. But yeah, this is a bit of a tough race for the teams.
Yep, and here we are actually coming in through Bridge into Priory, and we can see that very different line that Harley Lewis is taking. He almost seems to intentionally miss the apex of this corner. He gets a little bit closer this time. Yeah, it's not quite, he's tightened it up a little bit. I'm not sure if he was having problems with the dirty air effect from Jordan Housen ahead of him, but certainly he seems to have tightened that lineup here. That was at the end of lap 9, of course. Wow, already quite a sizable gap between the front runners. Oh, Cunnif's out of shape. Cunnif's out of shape through Beckett's, and that's going to put him under attack from Kerry Nolden and possibly Marcus Jensen as well. Marcus Jensen not too far behind, but again, possibly with a higher downforce setup. Kerry's got the inside line as they come into Stowe. We've seen Colin Cunniff, though, defend at Stowe with the outside line before. Can Kerry Nolden make the move stick? He does look like he can. He absolutely can. And it looks like Marcus Jensen is now all over the back of Colin Cunniff. Is he going to move to the inside? No, he stays behind. So now it is Kerry Nolden in the lead, followed by Colin Cunniff and Marcus Jensen. And certainly, again, you know, with, as you mentioned, the slipstream, very strong here. So I don't expect either of these guys to be dropping off of Kerry Nolden very easily. But certainly this is now Kerry's opportunity for a, I guess you could say, a boring race if he can possibly break away from these two guys. Of course, Colin and Marcus are going to have to be very, very careful about how they battle each other as well. If either of these guys want to pick up their first win, then they're going to have to be very, very cautious about what they do with each other. And focus rather on Kerry, but I'm not sure we're going to see that. Of course, these guys are not teammates or anything like that. They are competing for points, and I'm not sure there's going to be any sort of communication between them, but you can see already, after just a few corners, Kerry Nolden really starting to pull out that gap. Colin Cunniff now with the benefit of that slipstream closing in ever so slightly, but now we get into the twisty bits of the track, and it's time to see if Kerry Nolden can really extend this gap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be worth noting that Kerry Nolden does have damage to his front wing, and he is still actually pulling away from the corners. It just shows the domination of Kerry Nolden throughout the season, despite the bad luck, and despite having to contend with Nuclear Racing at the start of the season as well. He's managed to just completely dominate the competition. But again, Colin Cunniff, he's in the draft, he's trying to keep up, but if you can only keep up during the straights, it's not going to be good enough with Kerry Nolden. He's going to eventually pull away as Marcus Jensen, again, he's just looking a bit dicey, just reminding Cunniff that he is there. And I think it might be worth noting as well, this is actually Colin Cunniff's last race with the Apex Online Racing Pro Mazda League. And of course, it will be a great way for him to sign off if he can actually score a win in his last race.
Yeah, or I mean, a podium too would be really nice as well. I mean, I think Colin has scored a podium before already. Maybe we can confirm that, but certainly he hasn't been up there consistently. So even just signing out with a podium would be quite a nice way to end his championship here at AOR. But obviously the race win would be that much sweeter. He's in that terrible position though. You know, if I'm these guys, I would much prefer to be in first or third rather than second, because of course second has to do double duty. They've got to defend and also attack at the same time. And yeah, Colin did indeed get a podium. That was at Road America. which was a fantastic race, just like this one. And Colin, though, losing a little bit of time through Copse there as we're starting lap 12 now, and it does seem that Kerry has the advantage over these two guys in spite. And as you said, wow, I think they are flat out actually through Maggots, at least very close, and maybe a little bit of a micro lift there from Colin Cunniff as he's coming through Chapel now. He's in that slipstream of Kerry Nolden. He's way too far back to make any sort of move stick. Unless he's got some sort of curves attached to that car. Marcus Jensen, though, all over the back of him now, and as they're coming into Stowe, and yeah, this is quite an interesting develop. I think we might see Kerry Nolden pull away here if everything goes the way of Kerry Nolden. But I think we're in for a fantastic battle here between Colin and Marcus.
Oh, definitely. I mean, hopefully nothing bad happens, but it definitely looks like we're going to have a very nice race between these two drivers. And maybe, I mean, they are slightly keeping up with Kerry Nolden, but I mean, you saw me on board just the distance he managed to carry before entering the hangar straight. But now we're looking further down, well, not actually further down the field, we're looking at 4th position, 4th, 5th and 6th. This is Phil Reed versus Andreas Merck versus Gregor Reinach Jr. for 4th position, just outside the podium positions. But Phil Reed, very interesting news coming out after Brands Hatch, despite that retirement. But of course, a testament to how consistent he has been this season with three podium finishes. Phil Reed is signing for Team AOR Blue for Season 2. Of course, for team reforms, forcing the teams with 3 drivers to split up into 2-man teams. But Phil Reed getting a very, very big role at pretty much the winning team of Season 1.
Yep, yeah, for sure. That's going to be very nice for him. Looking forward to seeing him in that blue AOR livery next season. It's going to be very nice. But right now, he's holding on to that 4th place position, but only barely from Andreas Merck. He is not far behind him whatsoever. Reinach Jr., of course, as well, not very far in the distance. So you can see the differing lines as well there as they're coming onto the hangar straight out of Chapel. And it looks like Reinach Jr. might actually have a run here on Andreas Merck. And what is Andreas going to do? Is he going to defend the inside line? And he does not. And it seems like that is the major choice for most of the drivers here today. They seem to try and defend the outside line at Stowe, again, because you get that inside line at the Vale coming up next if you're at the outside of Stowe. But of course, Gregor taking that position off of Andreas Merck, moves himself up into 5th position, and now he's going to turn his attention towards Phil Reed.
Oh, that's
Marcus Jensen! Yep, and he spun it.
Yeah.
He spun it at Abbey. That's very, very unfortunate. Obviously, that's fantastic if you're Colin Cunniff, because now you can focus your efforts entirely on the car ahead that is Kerry Nolden, but that is very unfortunate for Marcus Jensen. I don't think he's suffered any sort of damage, and it doesn't appear it's dropped him back into this battle with Phil Reed and Gregor Reinach Jr. and Andreas Merck, but I'm certainly that's unfortunate.
I'm just wondering if he's going to pit after that. I mean, we've seen a lot of different pit strategies recently. I'm just wondering if Marcus Jensen is going to decide to pit now. I mean, he's got overheated tyres. I mean, if he takes a trip to a pit lane, he can cool them down. But yeah, that's not good for Marcus Jensen. Great news for Colin Cunniff, who can just, again, focus on Kerry Nolden. Yeah, I mean, I just want to get back to that battle for 4th position between Phil Reed, Andreas Merck, and Gregor Reinach Jr. Andreas Merck, he hasn't actually got a podium yet this season, and of course this is looking like a great race for him. So if he gets a podium, I think there'll be a great way to sign off his season and be a nice platform for SDC Motorsports, as Tom Van Dorn, who was racing very, very briefly in Brands Hatch before the crash at Turn 1. He's going to be his teammate for Season 2, so I think a 3rd place would be a nice platform. And Gregor Reinach Jr. Driving for Carbon Racing, if he scores enough points, I think he needs to score, I'm not too sure, about 20 or so points. He can actually get Carbon Racing up into 2nd place past Nuclear Racing, who have pulled out of the championship. Obviously, their drivers are focusing on the iRacing Road Series Championship, one of the official series of iRacing. Oh, Kerry Nolden gets a lot of oversteer. Colin Cunniff is now closed up a lot. Will Colin Cunniff be able to actually overtake? No, he can't. He's not close enough for an overtaking manoeuvre. He's just sitting back. But Kerry Nolden feeling a bit of pressure. Of course, he's driving around with a damaged front wing, so he's possibly having to push just a bit more. But if I was him, I wouldn't even bother pushing, because he's just got such... I don't know how to describe it. He's got such an advantage just from being himself, I suppose. Just pulling away, catching up. Of course, he did an amazing job catching up. As Colin Cunniff, he's looking on the inside for turn 1, but it's not going to be worth it at all. But this is going to be interesting as they head into Maggotts and Beckett and onto Hangar Straight if Colin Cunniff is close enough for an overtaking maneuver into Stove.
Yep, he is very, very close. I think much closer than we've seen for a number of laps at this point. And I think his confidence is building as well as he's starting to see the chink in the armor of Kerry Nolden. He is starting to see the weakness, the sliding. I'm not sure if it's related to that front wing damage or not, but it looks like Kerry Nolden's sort of in the middle of the track there. Sort of moves back to the outside. Colin Cunniff taking the racing line. He's going to get a little bit better exit coming out of Stowe, but it's a very short run down to Vale, so probably not any chance of overtaking. Again, looking at the inside, this is definitely very much a psychological game that Colin Cunniff is playing with Kerry Nolden at this point. He's letting him know that he is there. He's putting himself in the mirrors of Kerry Nolden and just applying that pressure all over the back of him and just letting him know that he is not going to let him get away as we are rapidly approaching the halfway point of this race already. Unbelievably, it feels like so little time has passed, but here we are already on lap 15, and here is that battle for 4th place. Gregor Reineck Jr. did manage to get up ahead of Merck. He's in 5th place at the moment. Phil Reed's still in 4th.
Yeah.
And
it looks like it looked like he had a bit of oversteer exiting the corner there. But I think Phil Reed is feeling a bit of pressure from Reineck and Merck. I mean, he just wants. I think he wants to impress his new bosses, I suppose, ready into next season. Also worth noting that Marcus Jensen hasn't pitted yet. We saw in the background just a few moments ago that Marcus Jensen just rising above the hill there, rising above Stove as Colin Cunniff and Kerry Nolden battled. As we're getting a replay from earlier on, it looks like it was Harley Lewis being squeezed out by Liam Robinson, so he had to just forfeit that position. Of course, heading into the grass as well. Not looking good for Harley Lewis at the minute. We're still actually looking at a replay. I think something else has happened. Let's see what happens. Oh, he gets oversteer, braking understeer, I think you can call it, heading in to the next corner, and he's just having to wait and wait for the drivers to pass by. That's
there he goes.
Martinson, of course, and there's Lewis eventually being able to get by. And again, we're looking at another replay, and it looks like he's just pulling off. So I think he had some sort of terminal issue, or was just retiring the car, which is a shame for Lewis. He started in the top 10 and just slowly dropped down the order. I think that was a few laps ago. I think he pulled off on lap 15. That was a very recent replay. But yes, that's a shame for Harley Lewis. Of course, Harley Lewis forming a team, forming Oracle Racing for next season with a new driver. We haven't got the confirmation yet on who that driver is. That's Gregor Reineck getting just a bit of oversteer there, exiting the corner. But another season-ending Harley Lewis wanted.
Yep, and just while we're on this, oh wow, as Phil Reed has gone right off the. Of course, I tried to talk about something else, and Phil Reed goes and makes the race exciting again as he goes right off the circuit, off of Priory there. I think he's pushing a little bit too hard now. I mean, you can see the gap that he's actually been pulling out very slowly over the past couple of laps, but unfortunately, I think that's all been for nothing now as he was on the grass when he was under braking for the penultimate corner there, and that has definitely closed the gap back down. Gregor Reineck Jr. once again within striking distance, or could be within striking distance if he's able to hang on through the Beckett section here. And but as I was going to say, of course, next season, season 2, there is going to be 12 races. It's going to be a 12 race calendar, 2 more races than there were this season. 30 drivers confirmed already, and that was supposedly pretty quick that got signed up. So it's looking like season 2 could possibly have the potential to be even more exciting than season 1 has been. Obviously, it's only going to improve as the drivers learn one another, learn the cars, not so much the circuits, because of course the circuits are going to change. But as they learn these cars and they get a feel for one another, it's just going to encourage the really, really close battles that we just love to see. And I mean, this is one of those battles for the lead as well. Colin Cunniff putting in a fantastic showing. Certainly at Brands Hatch, Kerry Nolden didn't really have too much to contend with at the last race, but this week he's got Colin Cunniff all over the back of him. He really can't let off for even a second. Even if he wanted to just take it back a few percent and just make it to the end of the race, he really just does not not have that luxury today with Colin all over the back of him. We're back onto this battle for 4th position. Phil Reed still hanging in there despite that incident at this pretty much the same location last lap. But Gregor, and he dives into the pits. Interesting. And Gregor Reineck Jr. is going to follow him as well. And I wonder what's going to happen with Andreas Merck as Andreas Merck continue on. I think the car is actually shorter than the barrier, so we couldn't see whether or not he continued on, but it sure sounded like he did. We're on board now with Harley Lewis. I think that's Christoph Leister just ahead as they're coming out of Luffield now and taking lots of curbing there, as you should. And now coming on to the start-finish straight, and he's going to start another lap.
Yes, and but also our ticker having a bit of issues there. I think it can't wait until the 1-week break we have between the seasons. Hang in there, ticker. You can make it. But yes, Liam Robinson is being hounded by Alexander Trowbridge. We didn't see that with the onboard, but he's holding his own. Trowbridge having a great race. He's in a 12th position. It might not seem like a great position to you, but of course, I mean, he's had a lot of bad races. I mean, retirements in Road Atlanta. In the first race, he was taken out at the turn 1 as that Spears getting a bit deep at the exit there, heading into hang on straight. Sorry, having a bit of a brain freeze there. But Gregor Reineck's actually managed to jump Phil Reed during the pits, but he's immediately letting Phil Reed by. I wonder if that's tactical or not. But yeah, that looks interesting and all. And yeah, Gregor Reineck seemingly jumping Phil Reed in the pits. That's kind of odd. I mean, Reineck was about half a second behind Phil Reed, so unless Phil Reed had a bad pit stop, or Reineck maybe pitted with less fuel, I'm not too sure. But if that was the case, then that might actually be bad news. I mean, if Phil Reed is hanging in the pits for later than usual and Reineck's actually jumping him, then I wonder if you actually need more fuel for this race. I mean, there's a lot more full throttle action. I mean, for a majority of the lap, you're at full throttle as Nigel Spears goes a bit wide. He hasn't pitted yet. Oh, so close. Phil Reed is now going on the cutback, and he's looking to overtake Nigel Spears before they head into turn 1. Can he make it stick? It looks like Spears is desperately trying to hold on. I don't know, it might not be the wisest thing to do, but of course, I mean, this is all for fun. So that's Merck leaving the pits. I wonder if Merck has jumped him or not. He's very close as Merck is leaving the pits. Does he jump Reineck? He doesn't jump Reed. Reed seemingly cutting him off. Spears on the inside. Reineck, oh my word, very, very close action there. But Merck has just not been able to get ahead. But if Spears had held up those two drivers just a bit more, I think we might have seen Merck ahead of Phil Reed and Reineck.
Yeah, I don't think Nigel Spears is making too many friends right now out on circuit, as he has put himself smack dab in the middle of that battle for what is a net 4th position, as Reineck Jr. going side by side through Stowe with Merck, and Merck's now going to have the inside line. I wonder if Nigel Spears is going to have anything to say about what's going on back there, though. But no, Merck takes that position, moves ahead, and he's just behind Nigel Spears, who, of course, is still out, has not made his stop yet, for those who may be unclear about what is happening right now. Obviously, these 3 cars all have pitted, whereas Nigel Spears has not. He's not a lap down. There is no reason for him to let them by, but at the same time, this is not who his battle is with whatsoever, as Merck getting a little squirrely there through Abbey, and he's, again, Reineck Jr. all over the back of him. Really no chance to overtake through Priory, just way too high speed of a corner. You got to be very brave to attempt to move there. Breaking down now for the hairpin, and still ahead as they come now into Luffield, and they're on the much fresher tires, but of course Nigel Spears has a lower fuel amount, so it's going to be touch and go as far as who's going to be faster where. It does seem that Nigel Spears has the advantage on the straights because of that lighter amount of fuel. You can see he's really just pulling away from these guys, but I mean, speaking of pulling away, Phil Reed making great use of that new set of rubber that's on his wheels, and pulling away from both of his contenders there. So it's looking like Phil Reed actually. And there's been a spin. Is that Phil Reed?
Yeah, so Reed has actually spun it. He hasn't fully spun it. He just lost the traction. But now he's behind all 3 of them. I wonder if he's behind anyone else. I hope we can get a replay or something later on about that. But that wasn't in the game plan for Phil Reed. I think he's pushing a bit too hard there. Of course, on fresh rubber, not exactly the best thing to do.
No, and I legitimately feel responsible for that, as I was just talking about how he was pulling away from these guys, and he was looking so good with Nigel Spears holding these guys up, and he has recovered. He's in the back there. He's not too far back, so he does still have a shot here, especially considering the fact that Nigel Spears is holding these two guys up. You can see him there. He's only a few seconds behind. He's not getting any sort of slipstream or anything, but he is going to be potentially gaining time in the corners because of Nigel Spears here. So,
Reinach in the background.
Reinach Jr., he's had some serious troubles through Abbey, and that's dropped him right off the back of Andreas Merck. Andreas Merck having a look at the inside of Priory. As I mentioned before, that is not really the best overtaking location, and he does slot back in behind him. Here's Gino Vandenbroek and Jordan Housen. I'm not even sure what position this is for anymore. It's all gotten a little bit hectic here in the second half of this race, but it does seem that Gino has the measure of Jordan Housen as it stands right now, back on board with Nigel Spears and Andreas Merck, and Andreas knows that he just absolutely needs to get by. We can see in the background there, Gregor Reinach Jr. has fallen into the clutches of Phil Reed, could possibly be coming under attack from Phil on the hanger straight here on lap 21. Nigel Spears again, though, holding up Andreas Merck, and that is exactly what Gregor Reinach Jr. and Phil Reed are going to be hoping for.
Yeah, and Phil Reed has actually managed to overtake Reinach in the background there. Didn't see it clearly, but Merck is desperate. He has to get past Nigel Spears if he wants that chance at fourth place and third place if anything happens ahead. We're getting word that actually Colin Cunniff's had a bit of difficulties. As Merck getting so close to Nigel Spears, he's actually got. Oh my word! He's onto the gravel, onto the grass. Phil Reed, Gregor Reinach are now catching up. That's definitely not what Merck wanted to do, as Merck tries to recover desperately. He's hitting. That's a really bad thing for Merck there. It just looks like he was desperate to get past Spears, and he just got a bout of oversteer. Very lucky he didn't completely lose control of the car there.
Yeah, they almost touched. That was very, very close. And at the high-speed corner of Stowe, very easy to make contact. And then, I mean, pull a Valkyarvi to use something that happened not too long ago and just roll the car at the exit of Stowe. Certainly that was possible, as Merck actually now coming under attack from Phil Reed at Priory. But no, he is able to... Oh, no, but Phil Reed hangs it with him. And,
so close to contact.
Almost very, very close. And now Gregor Reinach Jr. getting in the mix. He's all over the back of Phil Reed. He's very, very close to the gearbox of Phil Reed as they come out of Luffield and down the start-finish straight. He's going to be getting a very nice slipstream from Phil Reed up ahead. And it looks like Phil Reed is going to move a little bit to the middle of the track. No, he moves back over to the left-hand side. He knows that Gregor Reinach Jr. does not have the speed to get by there. So it goes ahead and moves back over and just takes the normal racing line. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Nigel Spears, I wouldn't say he's done anything illegal, but once again, certainly not making any friends here today, as he seems to be causing a number of issues for these three guys. But I've got to thank him personally, because of course he is helping to provide some of this fantastic action that we're seeing. It's not been great for Andreas Merck or Gregor Reinach Jr. Phil Reed really is the only person that has not been affected by Nigel Spears in this battle, and that's Gary Nolden coming into the pits for his one and only stop of the race. With Colin Cunniff's issue that you were mentioning before, of course, he's got a comfortable lead over the rest of the field as it stands right now. But Phil Reed, as I mentioned, really the only person that has yet to be affected by Nigel Spears. Of course, there's still plenty of laps remaining. Yes, yeah, he did spin, but yeah, that wasn't Nigel's fault. So, but in fact, Nigel has actually been helping him because of that spin. He really needed Nigel to hold these guys up so that he could get back up into the mix, and that's exactly what happened. So Phil Reed might actually be thanking Nigel Spears, as Nigel goes very deep through the penultimate corner there. He's going to have he runs a little bit deep through Luffield as well. And it looks like Andreas Merck is finally going to get his wish, and Nigel Spears dives into the pits as well. But now this battle for fourth position, I do believe it is still for fourth position. It is a little bit more spread out. You can see Phil Reed in the middle, but it's a nice 1 second gap or so, I would say, up ahead to Andreas Merck and also behind to Gregor Reinach Jr.
Yes, and we got to thank Nigel Spears there for helping spice up the entertainment there. That was an amazing couple of laps there, with the drivers having their difficulties getting their overtakes. It's just an amazing run of laps there. But of course, it might be worth mentioning But the drivers behind these three, Gino Vanden Broek, Jordan Housen, who have just pitted by the looks of things, they were able to close up just a bit during Ben. So when they come out of the pits, they're just going to be a bit closer in overall sense, you can put it. But yes, in the end, Merck eventually jumps Phil Reed and Gregor Reinach after those amazing few lapses. Oh, Merckx actually had a bit of difficulty by those things. I wonder if he just got a bit of oversteer. He must have clipped the curb a bit too much. Unless he got, no, he's just clipped, it must look like he just clipped the curb a bit. But now Phil Reed all over the back of Merck. Not going to be able to overtake, he's not close enough. As Reinach in the background, he's losing touch a bit as Merck using a lot of curb, getting dangerously close to the bumpy section of that grass bit. It's almost like a mini hill. I mean, if you get onto there, you're just gonna lose it. You might even hit the wall there. But yeah, so these drivers really pushing now as we're looking further down the field. This is Liam Robinson and Christoph Leister. I don't think they've pitted yet. They're followed by Alexander Trowbridge and another driver I can't exactly see too well. But yeah, I'm not too sure if these two drivers are pitted yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
I think that might be. Is that Plumley in the background? I couldn't tell. It sort of looked like the Peter Newman livery. But here we go. Actually, this is now the battle for second place. Colin Cundiff again had dropped behind Marcus Jensen as Imre gets out of the way very nicely there. Oh, there's been contact between them, and it looks like Colin Cundiff has come off worse for wear. It looks like he's got some mechanical damage as he's pulling off to the side at Stowe there. As Marcus Jensen does continue on, but we're not unsure what sort of damage, if any, he incurred from that contact there at Stowe. And here comes Phil Reed up the inside at Stowe on Andreas Merck, and he's going to take that position, and is he going to defend the inside line coming into Vale? And it looks like no, he's going to hang on to that position. He takes the normal racing line, and that's of course going to allow Gregor Reinach Jr. to close up a little bit on these two, and we might be seeing a revival of this three-way battle for fourth place, which of course is now going to become a three-way battle for third place, depending on what exactly happened between Jensen. I mean, this could be a battle for second place, depending on what happened with Jensen and Cundiff. But it certainly seemed as if Cundiff lost out pretty heavily.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait and see what happened with Jensen.
I mean, he was Colin Cundiff. He was actually pulling off to the side before we had to cut off to the other drivers. So I'm just wondering if he has retired. We'll get confirmation in a few minutes. But yeah, that was really damn shame that happened. I mean, Colin Cundiff, it's his last race. He was fighting for first at one point. But I mean, having contact of that magnitude, it really can damage the suspension. So again, I mean, it looks like Colin Cundiff is out of the race. I mean, it doesn't look like. I mean, we didn't see him slowing down much. You know, with the drivers behind him, Phil Reed and Merck. We didn't see them. We didn't see Colin Cundiff in the foreground at all. So yes, actually we're getting confirmation. Colin did get mechanical damage, and he did immediately press that escape button to go straight to the pit lane. But yes, that's a damn shame for Colin Cundiff. As we're looking at Phil Reed, who just goes on the AstroTurf and goes deep. Actually, I think that's when he spun off, so that might have been the reason he got down his tyres. And yeah, too much speed into maggots, and that's when he lost out to all those positions there and started that chain of amazing laps of battling.
Yep, and here is the battle once again, which we've seen before. Jordan Housen, Gino Vanden Broek. Housen with the inside line. Headed into Cops, he's going to have the inside line for the corner, and he comes out carrying a little bit more speed. No, Vanden Broek coming back at him. Vanden Broek's going to have the inside line for Maggots. Is Jordan Housen going to be able to stick it around the outside? They're still side by side through these corners, and Gino Vanden Broek edges out Jordan Housen, defending that position. Very nice move from Gino Vanden Broek. Very nice attempt from Jordan Housen as well. Great respect being given from both of those drivers as we're going back on board with Trowbridge, and I do believe that is Plumley actually just behind him. Obviously, Plumley started this race way up at 6. Wow! And Reed and Merck both off the circuit there, coming out of Luffield, and these guys are pushing incredibly hard, all four wheels off the circuit, and you can see this battling has done wonders for Gregor Reinach Jr. He's closed down that gap significantly. I'd say it's 3 times smaller than the gap was before. He is all over the back of Andreas Merck, especially after that issue coming out of Luffield there. And we're moving back on to the other ACR car of Alexander Trowbridge, currently running just behind Christoph Leister. And again, I'm pretty sure that's Plumley. I don't know if we could get confirmation of that, but I'm pretty certain that is Plumley in the background there. Yeah, it's looking good for the ACR guys here. Again, they are actually in that battle for 4th position in the team's championship against Peter Newman Media, and certainly it does seem that this race is going a little bit better for the ACR guys than it is for Peter Newman.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Peter Newman is out, and actually Robert Plumley is actually lapped if we just took a look at the ticker a few seconds ago. But yeah, even if that's South Talimakia, he's behind Alexander Trowbridge. Yeah, I'm really sorry, we just can't see from this camera angle. No, that is Robert Plumley, and he is a lap down. So, I mean, I think he's in 20th or so position, as that's Christoph Leister. He's looking at Leanne Robinson, looking to try and make an overtake. This is a battle for 8th position, as Christoph Leister in the foreground there. He's looking to overtake Leanne Robinson in the inside line. Does he make it stick? No, he can't. Leanne Robinson braking very late. Amazing spot of defending there from Leanne Robinson. Really got to give him credit for that. Looked like Christoph Leister was going to get past her. I think any other driver, it would have been Christoph Leister's overtake there. But Leanne Robinson, touched a bit aggressive with that braking there, and managing to stay ahead and is keeping on to 8th with only a few more laps to go. Alexander Trowbridge looking for a good result as that's Leanne Robinson again being a bit too aggressive now, exiting the corner, getting into the gravel, but he hasn't lost too much time, as again Trowbridge he's looking to overtake these two drivers, looking for 8th. It'll be a great result for him, and if anything happens that's very, very dangerous territory there. You don't want to go on the AstroTurf or the gravel. It's very, very slippery, and of course you don't want to end up going into the wall like Chimera did on lap 3.
Or getting your tires dirty and then spinning through maggots and beckets like Phil Reed did.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, as you mentioned, that's very dangerous stuff there. But you can see, certainly Alexander Trowbridge is now, you can see he's a little bit interested in what's going on ahead of him now. As these two guys have begun battling, it does seem that he's kind of got a little bit of a pep in his step, as he is all over the back of Christoph Leister going through Stowe. And there's just less than 6 laps remaining in this inaugural season of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship. Just a half dozen laps separating these guys from the end of the first season before we move on to the second season in 2 weeks' time. And a very exciting way to end off this season. It's been absolutely thrilling all season long, and this race has been no exception, as Leanne Robinson, as you mentioned, with some excellent defending, as Vittorio Saltalamacchia staying nicely out of the way. I'm not sure what's happened to Saltalamacchia, since we're talking about him here. I'm not sure what's happened to him in this race. Certainly getting lapped probably was not part of his game plan, especially by these guys. Again, this is that battle for 8th position, so he's getting lapped by guys that are sort of in the midfield even. So not a great race for Vittorio, unfortunately, and I think he may have even just lost a position possibly to his teammate, because again, Robert Plumley right up on the back of this. He is a lap down, but he's sticking with these guys actually. So Robert Plumley, I would say, if nothing else, proving that he did have, in fact, a genuine pace in this race at Silverstone here today, and probably should have been in the top 10. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to perform, or he wasn't able to get a little bit better luck and get a little bit better position, because as we mentioned, that battle between ACR and Peter Newman Media now both cars a lap down, and their third car out of the race on lap 1. And here we see Trowbridge once again in this battle for 8th position. Gino Vandenbroek as well in that battle with Jordan Housen that's going on in the top 10 as well, currently running in 6th position. So it's looking much, much better for the ACR guys. I mean, in fact, I think based on current positions, I think ACR might actually take 4th in the championship.
I mean, the gap heading into this season finale was only 4 points. So considering that both ACR cars are in the top 10, it's great for them. As Christoph Leister once again looking to overtake Leanne Robinson. Will Leanne Robinson pull off the same trick? Oh, kinda, sorta, but no. Leanne Robinson managing still to stay ahead, as Trowbridge just looking to overtake Leister, but that's just a bit too ambitious, even for these 3 drivers. I mean, Leanne Robinson, he looks like he is the slowest of the 3. 4 if you count Plumley, who was just demonstrating his speed. He's a great guy. I'm hoping he has a good season in Season 2. But again, Robinson, he's just defending amazingly well. But it just doesn't seem to have the pace overall. So Christoph Leicester and Trowbridge desperately trying to get by. Leicester looking on the inside, but it's such a... I mean, you call it dangerous, you call it racing, call it whatever you want, but it looks like Leicester's lost out some time as Trowbridge, he's looking to make an overtake on the outside. Can he make it stick? He's definitely looking at it, but no. Oh, Trowbridge is just having to pull out, nearly getting into the grass there. He just managed to avoid the curbing. I mean, the curbing wouldn't have helped either, as these 4 drivers actually heading to Hangar Straight. We've not got many laps to go at all.
Nope, just 4 laps, less than 4 laps remaining in this season. You can sort of smell the desperation that is coming off of these guys, because this is their last opportunity to try and make headway in the championship. I'm not sure exactly, the position that these guys are in, whether or not they stand to gain anything in the championship from. Oh, and once again here, actually, we see the difference. I'm not sure if that's Leicester pulling out of the dirty air at the exit of Club there on Leon Robinson, because we've seen that a couple times before in the race. He takes a much wider line through Club behind Robinson, and I'm not sure if he's just trying to get out of that dirty air or if that is his genuine racing line. But here they come through Bridge to end lap 29. Just 3 laps remaining in this race, and I mean, it appears to me that Alexander Trowbridge is really just applying pressure in hopes that there will be a mistake. It seems that he's trying to pressure Leicester into some sort of dangerous move on Robinson, which might actually take them both out of the race and move him up into 8th position. And you got to say, it's almost worked on a couple of occasions so far, as once again, here comes Leicester on Robinson. Not many laps remaining, as we've said before. Very, very close between them as they're coming into the Maggots-Beckett's complex. All over the gearbox of Leon Robinson as it stands right now. Trowbridge not far behind as well, very, very close. As you mentioned, I think you're right. I think Leon Robinson is the slowest of these cars at the moment, but his incredible defending skills are what's keeping him in 8th position as it stands right now. As we can see, he's one of the many drivers that has damage to his front wing. I think the curbing here at Silverstone is to blame for that one.
Yeah, definitely. These 3 drivers getting incredibly close, but it might be worth mentioning what's going on ahead. The battle for 3rd position. Well, not really 3rd anymore, as Christoph Leicester is looking to overtake Robinson there again. But Merck has pulled away from Reinach and Phil Reed. Phil Reed, of course, there's so much action going on. It's very difficult to get a replay of what's going on. But Phil Reed has had another spin exiting Maggots, and he dropped behind Reinach. But we're getting word from the pit lane that Carbon Racing are putting Reinach on an emergency strategy. It looks like they've underfueled the car, and now Reinach is underfueled as they head into the last few laps. So this is going to be a very interesting battle for 4th position. Phil Reed trying to recover, Reinach trying to hold off to 5th. Of course, we've got Gino Vandenbroek and Jordan Housen catching up to 5th place as well, as Leicester is looking again to make overtakes on the outside. Trowbridge is trying to stick his nose in, but this is looking like an amazing end of the season with 2 laps to go.
Yep, here we are. Again, this is the battle for 8th position as they start the penultimate lap of the season, actually. Leon Robinson still in that 8th place position. Leicester still pushing very hard to try and get by him. And again, Alexander Trowbridge really just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what happens. Again, though, with only 2 laps remaining, I think we might see Alexander Trowbridge pushing a little bit harder. We might see him making some overtaking attempts, but it's entirely possible that he just won't be able to, because of course Christoph Leicester is in the tow of Leon Robinson, so Alexander Trowbridge arguably has the much more difficult job of trying to catch somebody who also has a slipstream. Leon Robinson defending the inside line at Stowe, and Leicester's gone deep, and it looks like Alexander Trowbridge is going to move ahead. He does. He's now going to defend the inside line as they head into Vale, and actually he doesn't even need to. He moves back towards the racing line. Leicester now in 10th position. Trowbridge up into 9th, and Leon Robinson still in that 8th place position. Here comes the battle. And that's Vandenbroek and Housen as well. And what's going on with Reinach exactly? And this is Frederick Johansson, I believe, who's a lap down, I would assume, as he gets out of the way very nicely, actually, there. And Reinach...
speed in Reinach. Again, Reinach, he's saving fuel, so he's having to slow down. But of course, he's got Van Broek and Jordan Housen behind him. Phil Reed is not far away either, but this is looking very, very spicy. Let's see what happens now. So Jordan Housen is right up on the back of Van Broek. He's looking to make an overtake. He just Van Broek cutting him off brutally there. As Reinach, he's desperately he's gonna probably put the throttle all the way to the floor of that car. But as the driver's heading to Maggots, Reinach losing a lot of time. These two drivers heading into these corners at full speed. Reinach is probably having to lift off a lot to save fuel. And that's Jordan Housen. He's off. He's definitely going to get a corner cut, a slow down warning as Gino Van Broek is looking on the tail of Reinach. This is a battle for fifth, and that'll be an amazing result again for Gino Van Broek if he can get past Reinach.
Yep, hot off his podium finish at Brands Hatch, and you can tell he's really got the confidence in the car as well. He really seems to have full control. Meanwhile, our champion, though, Kerry Nolden, coming to the end of the final lap of this season. Here he is, your new champion of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship, and he crosses the line, and at his home Grand Prix, or one of his home Grand Prix, I'm sure he is very excited about that. And there is Gino Van Broek with the inside line at Abbey, and he moves himself up ahead of Gregor Reinach Jr., takes that 5th place position, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy about that. You can see the gap he's already pulling away because of Gregor Reinach Jr. having to save that fuel, and that was, oh no, and Reinach spins! Housen almost gets taken out. Johansson, though, doesn't have to worry about it. Imre as well has plenty of time to react to it, and he's getting a tow. He must have run out of fuel there at Priory as he spun. I don't know if the spin was related to him running out of fuel or not, but here is the other ACR car still remaining in this race. Alexander Trowbridge doesn't look like he's going to be able to overtake Leanne Robinson, but I mean, all due credit to Leanne Robinson. Despite Kerry Nolden, he may be the driver of the day with the defending that he has put on a fantastic show, hangs on to that 7th place position now, with Gregor Reinach Jr., of course, not completing the final lap of the race, so he is going to come home in 7th, with Alexander Trowbridge actually does get that 8th place position, but he doesn't get it off of Leanne Robinson like he may have expected. And there's the two Peter Newman Media cars that are still remaining, and there's Kerry Nolden out in the midfield in the grass doing some donuts, celebrating his double championship. Once again, AOR has won the team championship, and Kerry Nolden has won the drivers championship, and you can see how excited he is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a well-deserved victory for both the team and Kerry Nolden for the championship and the race. As we take a look at the race results, Kerry Nolden with pole position and fastest lap. A perfect race for him. It's his triple crown he's called it. He wanted to win in all 3 English events, and he's done so. Marcus Jensen takes 2nd place, 10 seconds behind. Merck obviously takes 3rd. A great race for him. Perfect start for SDC Motorsports as they head in to Season 2 of the team. Phil Reed hangs on to 4th after all those spins. Van Broek moves into 5th, of course, with Reinach running out of fuel. Housen in 6th. Robinson with a very well-deserved 7th place with all that defending. Trowbridge, result of this season for him in 8th. Christoph Leister in 9th, and Joshua Anderson in 10th. As we move on to the next page, Martinson in 11th place. Nigel Spears in 12th. And of course, Reinach Jr., he had to get a tow, so he was a lap down, but still finishes 13th. I don't think that's enough to overtake Nuclear Racing in the standings in the team's championship. Steve Kager 14th, Johansson 15th, Imre 16th, Van Rompuy 17th, and the 2 Peter Newman Media drivers for last point scorers in 18th and 19th. Colin Cunniff unfortunately out of the race, of course, with that contact with Marcus Jensen, and it's a shame that's how he's you know, that's his end of not just the season but of his time at the league.
Yeah, at least for now.
Yes. Hopefully he comes back in the future. Of course, as we move on to the last of the retirees, Lewis Valchiavi, with that going on to the roll bar, of course, Lukens, who were also retired, Chimera and Newman. Actually, looks like Valchiavi tried to do a few more laps afterwards, but he was just so far down on laps, there was just no point in finishing.
Yeah, no surprise there. And we mentioned it before, but very, very unfortunate race for Peter Newman Media. The team, again, as you mentioned, the 2 remaining cars finishing in last place with Peter Newman himself going out and DNFing. But there it is, your final championship standings for the first season of AOR Pro Mazda Championship. Kerry Nolden is the champion with a 46-point lead over Patrick White. Jordan Howson in third, one-time championship leader, down 67 points from Kerry Nolden after the drop weeks and everything. Phil Reed in fourth position, looking like he may be actually the number 2 AOR driver for season 2, of course, with him driving for the AOR Blue team next season. Rico Alatalo finishes in 5th with Michael Mittner in 6th. Martinson finishes in 7th. He was pretty anonymous in today's race. I'm not sure if he just wasn't getting along well with the track, but Leister in 8th, Reineck Jr. in 9th. Moving on to the next page, kind of in 11th. Vandenbroek finishes in 12th with that nice string of nice results at the end of the season. Moves himself ahead of Robert Plumley. Valky Yarvi is the next ACR driver in 14th place with 70 points. Andreas Merck in 15th with 59 points. Saltala Makia after that in 16th. Kagerer in 17th. Leanne Robinson in 18th. Marcus Jensen in 19th. And Domenico Domeno in 20th. Marcus Jensen actually going to be joining one of the Peter Newman Media teams next season, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah. What's happening with Peter Newman Media is actually they're splitting into technically 3 teams. Peter Newman Media is getting a rebrand into Red Devolution Racing and GP, with Marcus Jensen moving into the primary Red Devolution team. As we move on, just quickly get this Drivers' Championship sorted. Neil Lukens in 21st, with Lewis in 22nd. Trowbridge moves up just a bit into 23rd. Just not enough points to get past the 2 drivers ahead of him. Peter Newman, hoping he gets a better season next time out, in 24th. Wiseman in 25th. Spears, Imre, Baxter, Van Rompuy, Evans, and from here on out it's just drivers who have either joined later on in the season or dropped out midway through. But again, just getting back to Peter Newman Media, they're splitting into 3 separate entities, kind of working together at least. But it'll be very interesting next season to see all these new teams, and we'll probably get a bit more into that as we head into the Teams Championship standings in a few minutes.
And there's no independent championship next season, right?
No, there is no independence championship. I mean, to be fair, I mean, so many drivers have joined the team. There's only about 4 drivers left who are independent. That's how many drivers have teamed up for next season. But we'll see in the next standings results. We'll see in the independent standings who exactly won the championship and the driver who's actually retiring after this season. And as we just get on to the last two drivers, Van Dorn and Camaro, who joined later on. Camaro sadly crashing out of both races. Van Dorn, he's going to be racing with SDC Motorsports in season 2. But yes, 42 drivers in this season in total, and I think it's been a great season.
Absolutely, you couldn't ask for a better season, really, especially considering it was the first season of this championship. It's only going to get better from here on out. I'm personally really looking forward to season 2 as we get the confirmation of the team's championship. Yeah, and you could see Carbon Racing missing out on that second place finish by just 6 points. Very unfortunate that Patrick White wasn't able to attend today, and also that Gregor Reineck Jr. was unable to finish the race, because I do believe in the position that he was in, that would have been enough to move them ahead of Nuclear Racing. Avid Chronic Racing, though, does move ahead of Peter Newman Media, finishes in that 4th place spot, 21 points separating them in the end. Again, though, Peter Newman Media splitting up into a few teams. ACR as well, there's some changes going on there too, right?
Yes, ACR having the sister team sponsored by me, of all people, ACR Crekkan GP. Don't worry, I won't be commentating next season, so you won't be seeing my bias. So as we move on to the Independence Championship, Jordan Howson, who is retiring from the league as it stands at the moment, he is the Independence Champion. He's going to be the only Independence Champion, it seems, with the scrapping of the championship. Phil Reed takes 2nd place, with Mittner in 3rd, Leister in 4th, Cunniff finishes 5th. Then it's Kagra, Merck, Robinson, White, and Jensen. White obviously there on courtesy for racing the first 3 races, I believe, as an independent before joining with Greg Reinach to put a stake in, Carbon Racing's stake into the league. Nigel Spears in 11th, followed by Lewis, Imre, Domeno. Of course, he's there on courtesy with a 2nd place. He got at Laguna Seca the first round of the season. It feels like yesterday, really, that we were commentating on Laguna Seca, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it feels like very little. I mean, of course, you know, time flies when you're having fun, and every single one of these has been an absolute blast to do commentary on. And it's nice to see Jordan Housen, who, again, not returning next season. It's nice to see that he's actually at least able, because he was the championship leader for a while there, so he does at least get that Independence Championship, so he can go ahead and pop that onto his CV. Just on a personal note, it is really unfortunate to still see Cam Stark at the end of the season with those 0 points. He does write for iRacing News along with me, so I was kind of hoping to see him score some points in the end. But that is going to do it for season 1. It's been an absolute thriller. Really enjoyed it. As we've mentioned before, it's only going to get better in season 2, and I've really enjoyed doing the commentary with you, Crekkan, with Dre as well. We're going to be having some new commentators joining me for next season, or at least one new commentator. I don't know if you want to spoil that or not, Crekkan.
I think we'll wait until the first round of season 2, so you better tune in to see that.
Yep, you guys definitely don't want to miss it.
Never curse your name. I keep my lips shut tight until you go.